So today I'm doing a video similar to last week where I am sketching a CAD in Illustrator. I'm working on my CAD skills because that's definitely an important skill of being a fashion designer is using Illustrator to do sort of technical flats. But the ones I have now are pretty outdated in my portfolio, and I think I can do much better ones. I've been brushing up on my skills, learning some new skills in Illustrator to do flats nicer with more detail, more dimension, and also faster, be able to do them at a faster pace. So I want to add these to my portfolio when I'm done sort of practicing these. And I decided to use some recent collections from fall 2020 from designers that I like, and just some kind of interesting looks that looked challenging to do in Illustrator. And they're all pretty much knitwear because I'm a knitwear designer. I'm focusing on knitwear CADs. And the one I'm doing today is Hervé Léger, fall 20, pre-fall 2020. And it's this look that I'm going to start recording my screen now so you can see it. Record entire screen. It's this look by Hervé Léger from pre-fall 2020. It's just like this structured long short sleeve, but long short sleeve top, kind of like a mock neck turtleneck, and then it has this nice fringe for the skirt. It's really nice. It's sort of unconventional knitwear, but I just really like it. And I really like this brand, so I wanted to do this look. So first we're just going to start with sort of like a croquis template, which is what I always start with because it's just easier to do. And let's see, on the template I might also just sort of add like a center guideline, which just helps so things are centered. Oh, there it is. Okay, what are these red ones? Oh, that's the edge of the template, I believe. I'm going to relock that. And let's see, layer one, we'll just put the, I don't know, top part, because this will be the top part. We might do the top part and the fringe skirt separately. And I guess let's just start. What do I normally do? Let's just start with the pen tool. Let's do like the turtleneck part. Let's see, I'll just kind of do, it's pretty tight to the neck, like that. Oh, let's do default, okay. Reflect it, the other side, and then join, bump, bump. And then we'll sort of do like, this will kind of go down. I always hold shift because it shift kind of creates a nicer shape. Down, also down, go a little further down, okay. And then, I mean, that will be filled with white, right? And then I think we're going to copy, paste. I always paste it in front first for the back piece. The back piece just going to go the opposite direction a little bit. Paste it in back, put it in the back, and we'll put a gray fill on that. And then we'll start with like the shoulder. And this doesn't really look like it has an armhole seam, so I think for this one, we'll just do no armhole seam, I guess, because it just doesn't look like there's one there. Default white. Let me see here. Let's go ahead and just create the basic shape. This shape looks not right so far, but that's okay. Well, let's just go straight down to the waist, and let's just stop there for a second because some of these shapes are really bad. See this, we definitely want to get rid of this like point in the, that's better, but that's not really a clean, I don't really like this shape. What is wrong with this shape? Shoulder, I think this needs to go higher and less curved. Maybe this goes higher. This shape is not looking right. It's better. It's kind of a weird, I think maybe it's not long enough either. So maybe we just make it a little bit longer. Something like that. Actually, this one looks, mine is kind of narrowing. That one looks more, this one actually looks further out. I think maybe here. think I did before was do this and I just sort of round that. Eat. Eat. Wait, do we actually have two paths here? Why do we have two paths? Let's do one path. Okay, let's do one path and that kind of smooths it a little bit. Let's reflect this. Copy and grab these two, join them. And then this, based on the drawing, this actually kind of just goes up a little bit. So we'll go up. Okay, and then let's see. Oh, these, let's see. Round, oh, there we go, that's nicer. Round but gray, okay, that's fine. And then this is round edges, okay. So that's that, and then I think we'll sort of put like, just these sort of gather, has these just sort of large creases, and we'll do the, and I like to kind of just do these separately because I think it's nice when they're not 100% symmetrical, a little bit more like a real garment, a little bit more natural. And then for this, you know, what did I do? I did, this one, I did a gradient type, there, add one here, and this should be black. This one should be gray, maybe just like nice. Oh, that's, oh, it's not opacity. The, this part, 95%. It's pretty subtle. Maybe let's try like 90% there. This one, 90%, a little bit brighter and a little bit maybe more to the side. Okay, and then because this is black, same thing here. I did like a point gradient, whatever this is called. What is this? Whoops. Freeform Gradient is quite nice on a black garment, especially a black garment where, I mean, normally you probably wouldn't fill, even though if you do a black garment, you're not going to fill it in black because you just don't see many details. But since this is more of like artsy CADs, and I'm not actually sending this to a factory to make, I'm going to try to do it like the photograph, which is all black. But I thought instead of doing solid black, it's really quite nice to do sort of like a gradient black because it just gives a little bit more dimension and 3D effect rather than just like, so if I fill it with just like solid black like this, it's just, you can't see anything, there's no detail, there's no dimension, it's not quite nice. So that's why I kind of go for the gradient fill, something a little more interesting. When we do the freeform gradient, we can take these points and kind of move them. You can kind of create, sometimes I kind of create like a circle. You can kind of move these dots around. Let's see, kind of put one on each shoulder. I think I end up highlighting the shoulders. Let's see, I might probably make the chest kind of just black probably. These ones I make black, but like 95. This one should be straight black. This one also like 95. This one's black. This is black. How does that? On this one, maybe we delete. This doesn't look right. Let's do like 90. You can. And if you hear outside, they're doing the clapping for the medical workers because of coronavirus going on right now. So every day at 7 p.m., which is right now, they you know, clap and applaud for all the medical workers, which here in New York City, which is quite nice. We're getting hit pretty hard with coronavirus, so it's nice that they do something like that. So something like this with the gradient, these still don't quite look bright enough. Ooh, 80's too much. 85. Well, maybe these ones as well. We just do like 90. So I just kind of end up messing around with the 90, 85. Kind of messing around with these gradients. They're quite interesting. And it's just interesting, it creates more dimension. Then you can see these gathers kind of in the armhole. And we can also try adding some just drawn in shadows, which can also look nice. So I just kind of draw these rough shadows like this. And then I do hit shadow. So in those lighter areas, you kind of see, it's subtle, but you kind of see this shadow area. I'll kind of do it on both sides. And I do tend to not always reflect it because I want it to be more organic. And I don't want the shapes to be exactly the same. Same thing, shadow. So there, so that's the nice thing about if you make these arm gradients lighter color, 90, 88, we can even make them a little bit lighter. Then you can see the shadows that we create under the arm a little bit. So that kind of adds some dimension where you have the shoulders are kind of highlighted and the arms are kind of highlighted because they're out. The chest maybe because it's kind of caves in a little bit, it's a little bit darker. And I don't know if the head is there, maybe that's adding a shadow here. You know, I don't know, it's kind of making stuff up, right? About where shadows would be and where highlights would be, and then adding just some shadowing in under the arm, on the side of the body. Okay, so that's mostly like the top half. Oh, actually, let's fix the sleeves a little bit. To add more dimension that's similar to the neck, let's just go ahead and do a copy, paste in back. And I'm going to grab this, just bring it up a little bit like that. And the one underneath, bring it there. And then this one's going to be the gray because that's in the background. Kind of that same effect like the neck. Bring it up. These are not going to be exactly symmetrical because I'm doing them separately and I'm not reflecting it, but I think they're close enough. I don't really feel like reflecting this whole thing again. But I think that looks pretty good for the top half of this like dress. So now I think we can move on to the fringe, the fringy skirt. The fringy skirt, let's see, I might actually, just to make this less complicated, do another layer, just so I don't mess with the top. I'm going to lock the top half, put the fringe, just name it fringe. Fringe skirt. Okay. Okay, so for here, for this, it's a little bit, I think the first thing I ended up doing was arcs. So let's do guides first. Let's add another layer for guides. Put that below. I ended up putting, let's see, they're kind of like arcs because they, you know, they lay like arcs. So let's create something like that, an arc. So that's like a guideline that we're going to follow for the first layer, because you can see there's 1, 2, 3 layers of fringe. That's the first. For the second one, where is that? Oh, it's above the knee, about here. Here, and I don't know, for some reason it does go slightly wider. Oops. Hold the option key, is that right? Yeah, option key goes a little bit wider. And we'll also even, I think, drag this down because we want a little bit of a stronger arch as we go down, just for like perspective, kind of. And then the last one, wait, where's the center? Wait. Okay, there. I don't know, where is it? Mid-cat, a little bit higher, maybe. Just below the knee. Okay, what distance? Oh, this doesn't look right. This one looks too low. That looks not bad. That looks okay to me. Same thing with this one. We'll make it, it's not really wider. Maybe we'll make it the same height, but we will drag it down so that it's a little bit of a stronger arch. I think that will look nice, even though you don't really see those in the picture, but I think they'll look nice on the CAD. Actually, let me make them a different color first. Black is not the best color for these guys. Whatever, we'll just do like a nice reddish fuchsia so we can see them. Lock them, we'll go back to the fringe skirt. Okay, go back to the fringe skirt. Here, same thing, I kind of do these organically. Let's see. Her hands are kind of in the way here, which is not ideal, but we'll do this kind of, the ones on the edge will just kind of curve out. Obviously this should be black. So also for these fringe, I was trying to do gradient because, let's see if we can get a nice gradient going on these. Maybe in the center. So put this one here, add one there, and we make the center one, say it like 90? Is that That looks nice. That's just like a nice, so it looks like the light is kind of hitting straight on. It's pretty subtle. Oh, it's not bad. 90. Let's see, maybe 85. How bright does that get? That's not bad. I kind of like that, but then maybe it's a little wide, so maybe bring these in. That I don't mind. Maybe back out a little bit. Oops, I don't have it highlighted. Maybe back out. I think that looks pretty good. It just gives a little bit of dimension to each fringe strand. And then from here, I'm actually going to create a few that are kind of different, that kind of just wave in different ways a little bit, like that. 1, 2, and let's go ahead and add the same effect to these two. Maybe we can add one in the center. This one, let's bring that one over here. And for these, again, we just make sure that the bottom edge is kind of following that arc, so we get this nice effect. Oh, actually, I don't think this one has the right gradient on it. Okay. Sometimes these, let's see what happens. Same thing, just do like a nice curve. That one's kind of curvy. And then last one, we'll do like we did on the other side, which is just kind of straight curve. Okay, and these two will change to that kind of gradient. This one's quite curvy and kind of weird. Maybe we'll change the direction a little bit. Is that okay? Let's just do that. Okay, and then we're gonna grab all these. Let me save my file while I'm at it. Then we'll go to whatever this is. Blend tool. Blend tool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You connect those lines. Double click, and we go to specified steps 5. Oop, preview. Okay, and this is where we end up creating that fringe. 10. How tight do we want this? 10 is good for now. Let's do 10. And see, let's see. See, we kind of lose, we lose our effect, which I don't really know how to fix that, but at the moment we kind of end up losing where the gradient that we put on, it's on the ones that we manually made, but then on all these middle ones, the gradient's not right. But you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. This is kind of what happens sometimes. I'm going to leave it for now and see how good or bad it looks later. And it's, I don't know, it's probably not that important because that gradient, it's so subtle anyway, so whatever. So we have that first layer, and then I think let's just try to copy this fringe skirt. Let's go in here. This one is short fringe. What do we do? Copy it. Let's paste it in front because we're just kind of working with it right now. I think what I did, let's just drag it down. We can kind of mess with the fringe later. And this one is the, let's say, medium fringe. Medium, I think we do medium front fringe, medium front fringe. And let's go in and fix some of these lines. Where's the next one here? Kind of just bring these down to this arc that we have. It's okay. We'll put these out here for now. We'll see how that looks. And then we'll go up to the top. Definitely the top needs to also kind of be put in the right. That's fine. This one maybe just go down one. Yep, that one just go up a little bit. And then this one needs to go up. Okay, something like this. This doesn't look... Okay, guys. So we're getting, you know, it's creating some sort of an effect. There's like something going on here that's interesting, that's getting there. I think I do want to change some of these bends. I just, you know, I don't want it to be lay exactly the same as the short layer, so I'll just kind of come in here, change the direction a little bit. This one, I don't know, we can kind of bulk it out a little bit, I guess. I don't know. Maybe pull these up. Okay, maybe these edges kind of do something a little more bendy, flowy. bend in different ways. That looks good for now. I don't know if that's kind of too bendy, but that's okay, whatever. Let's just leave it for now. So this one, paste in front. I think we're gonna do, oh, where's our guides again here? And this is gonna be our long layer. That's this one. So this is going to be long front fringe. And these are kind of backward. Let's start putting these in the right order. So short, medium, long. Long is in the back. Okay. Same thing, come in here. And make sure they kind of reach our the shaping that we want. That's good. So I think the guides we're kind of done with, because we got our 3 layers against those guides. Let's again take this, make sure this layer is also kind of touching the top of the waistband, just so we don't have any weird shapes coming out later. I think that looks pretty good. Those are touching. Those are touching this one. Okay. Okay, and we kind of get, so actually now if you go in and you look at the gradient, now they do have the gradient that we want, which is like that, the linear gradient going up and down vertically the middle of the line. So they went back and they have it now, which is nice to see. So that's good. We didn't lose our gradient effect through adding the blend tool. Same thing here. Let's see, maybe we could, is this wide? Let's see, so I'll just step back. You can see we have so far without, there it is without the croquis. It's looking pretty nice. We have this kind of like weird wood grain effect in the fringe. So now in the sketch we do have the 3 tiers of the skirt. We have the short, the medium, and the long. But then obviously in the back, in the long layer, we definitely also see between her legs, we see a little bit of the back fringe as well. So we know there's 2 layers there. And I think also, I assume there's some kind of a lining, skirt lining, because I don't think you can rely fully just on fringe, especially when you're moving around to be covered. So I'm sure there's some kind of a black lining skirt that goes, you know, from the waist maybe down to just above the, just sort of above the second layer around here. So I think we want to do sort of like a skirt layer. Can we grab 1, 2, please work, 3, 4, what do we grab? Okay, well, okay. We'll make this work. Okay, this will work. So this has no fill. Oops, now it has no line. Default, no fill. Just go ahead and grab this new so we have the whole thing. Get rid of that. Okay. So I'm just going to take these 4 pieces. We're just join until we get that message. So we get this shape. And here I'm just going to get rid of these funny little things that point out. Okay. So now we have this shape. I kind of like to, we're in the wrong layer though, so let's get rid of this. Lock the top again. Put the guides back under, lock the guides. We're going back to the fringe. So paste it in the fringe layer. And let's see. This path is going below all these layers. This is going to be like the skirt lining, let's just call it. Again, I like to do a gradient, but, oh, so this one, maybe like 90. Not that one though, type, can we change? So the fading sky, what's the right, -90? Oh, yeah, that's right, okay. So, and then we're gonna change this one to black. The top is black, and it's gonna fade down to transparent. What is this? Why is this blue? But this is actually also just gonna be black. Black and black, and it's gonna fade to transparent. So put this like this. Let's see. Actually, maybe we'll put that all the way there. We kind of have this. It just creates a softer. Obviously, you're not gonna have like a gradient skirt. I mean, I guess actually you could somehow with layering or something. But this just creates a nicer look, I think. So when we put this behind the fringe, it creates a softer look. Now I don't know how that layers. Skirt lining. It's not bad, I think. Let's see. Well, definitely the strokes are weird. Let's round the strokes. Actually, I want to put it on top just to make sure it's actually... Yeah, so if I put it on top, yeah, it is sort of transparent. It kind of goes transparent at the bottom, which is nice. That's kind of a lot. I still feel like the gradient's not quite, maybe, you know, more black, something like that. Skirt lining. Getting rid of the outline. Get rid of the guy. Oops, guys. Get rid of the guys. Okay, now it looks a little bit more flowy. I think that looks nicer. And so for the medium layer, we basically want to create another one. Copy, paste it in back. Let's see, medium, medium front, medium front, medium. So we'll make this one medium back, because I think with the transparent lining, you'll see a little bit of it, but that needs to go behind the lining. Auto transform reflect it, because we don't want it to be, there we go. We don't want it to be exactly, lay exactly the same as the front, otherwise it's just hiding behind, you know. So there, yeah, you can kind of see the double layers happening. This is a little weird. I think I'm gonna, these little, well, let's see. I'm just gonna bring these in a little bit more. That looks a little more natural, so they're not like sticking out so far. That looks a little bit better, I think. Cool, I like that. I think, oh, you know what else this needs is the medium back or front. It just need this point. Yeah, this point needs to kind of, they don't, matching them like that again is not great. So we kind of offset these edges. Oh, medium back, that's what we're working, okay, medium back, we are working on that, perfect. We go ahead, medium front, no, medium back, same thing, kind of offset it, kind of fills it a little bit more. I think it looks a little bit better when we just offset a little bit. Go back to this one again, maybe a little bit more offset. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Actually, I still don't love medium back. You know, it is what it is as far as you obviously can't get them all to lay separately. Okay, well, let's move on to the long layer. Copy, paste that in back. Same thing, it obviously looks exactly the same right now. We'll reflect it to see. Okay, that adds some change in dimension, but it's too symmetrical, like here, here, here. So we will go in, so long back fringe, and again, this goes all the way to the back again. And I think long back fringe, maybe let's also isolate it so it's easier to work with. Same thing here, we'll kind of set these in. Oops. And take, also maybe, you know, pull that in so it fills these areas a little bit more. Same thing here. Put that in, fill that space. Pull that out, fill that space. And let's see, yeah, I mean, also just change the curvature of what's happening a little bit. So again, the pattern's not exactly the, even though we did reflect it, get rid of some of that symmetry that even though we reflected it, it still has this like weird symmetry to the front long layer that we don't really want. So even this middle one, we maybe offset that a little bit more. There's a place where it's like, there's pretty good, it's like very more offset. Okay, so let's click off. Okay, so it's less symmetrical. It's like here you have this is less symmetrical. What else can we do? That's the long front. Let's go back to the long back. Let's isolate that one more time. Although isolating is annoying because it's hard to see exactly what I'm doing. Like overall how it looks is kind of hard to see. Because I could be messing with it and I could be sort of changing it too much. I don't know. Something like that, right? I don't know if we want these to sort of, so let's go back to the long back. It would be nice if they across a little bit more. I don't know if we add one. Maybe helps a little bit. Create more movement. That's better. I feel like there's more movement happening in the bottom of the skirt. It's not quite so weird. I think the other thing that's nice is, let's see, so the front and the back shouldn't be exactly the same length because we're not looking at it straight on. So the back, actually the back layer, let's go back to the long back. I would actually take this one, pull that up. That's about the top place, pull that one too. And the sides are going to be about the same because the sides are kind of at the same place. So it's just this back edge. Does that work? Yeah, that kind of works, I think. And I think I would do the same thing for the medium as well. Medium back, go into that, medium back, isolate that one. Go in here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Also just 1, 2 here. 1, 2, and make that a little bit shorter, visually shorter than the front. It's obviously not shorter. The back, I don't know, I feel like the back could go even higher. So maybe I'll actually take the front and pull this up a little bit. Maybe this bottom was a little too curved. Does that make sense? That looks okay. Yeah, maybe they're too curved. So let's also take the medium front. We'll just go up like a little bit on the medium front as well. Okay, something like this, right? That actually looks good. I'm happy with that. That looks, I don't know, it just kind of looks more realistic or something. Okay, and then, I mean, that looks pretty good. Let's see, I think I'm pretty happy with this overall. I think it looks quite nice and pretty similar to the picture. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the back now. I think we have all the elements that we like and need. Maybe I will just sort of put that out a little bit further and like kind of round it out like it would sort of, there we go, sort of sit, you know, have little edges that kind of sit out. I don't think these are like a little too curved in, these ones here as well. Let's see. These ones as well. I like where that one is and maybe just curve it out. That's nice. And copy that and just paste one somewhere in there to create more. That's good. Kind of fill in that space. That looks good. So it's not like one single fringe that's like hanging out here. So let's just paste this separately. Again, fill in that space. I think this first layer could also be not so curvy. This is too much curve here. This is not, I don't feel like this is realistically how this would lay. of straighten those a little bit. Okay. I feel, oh, that looks nicer. I feel better about that. Second layer, I feel like the top layer and the long layer, those can be a little curvier, or those can be a little bit straighter. The middle layer, I'm okay with that a little bit curvier. Okay, that's the front. So I'm gonna go ahead and just group this whole thing. One thing I wanted to do, so it's all here, this is front. This will be the back. One thing I wanted to do was, let's see. Oh, I do want to add a double stroke. Let's see. This and, oops. Let me go ahead and just, whatever, let me just grab this. So I want to add a double stroke to just the top part. The fringe, no, because it's fringe and it's pretty light. I think we're going to leave that as it is, not going to double it. But the top is nice, kind of doubled. So, oops, I'm going to go in, get rid of some of these details that aren't necessary. This and that, okay. And from here, I'm going to grab all these pieces, go to the, what is this called? Shape Builder, and just connect those shapes. Okay, perfect. And then we're going to make this into the 2-point graphic style, just completely in back of everything. So there's a little bit of a stronger line there. Save that. Okay, so that's our front. So I'm going to close up the front group, and we're just going to grab the whole thing. Option, click away. That's our front. So our back here, I'm going to put this on a different layer just because I like it on a different layer. Okay. So in the back layer, we are going to get rid of a few things we don't need. Like we don't need, let's see, that. So this is our back here. And we're going to put, let's see. Oh, also I forgot to, let's just take this whole thing and reflect it, because transform, reflect it. Okay. Just, right, looks more like the back when you reflect it. We'll go in here, we'll get rid of this as well. We'll go back in to the neck piece here. This will get a gradient, also the linear gradient, but we're gonna, you know, maybe just switch sides, put that over there. Cool. The back side also needs a gradient, so I think here we're gonna go ahead and undo the linear gradient like we did before. But we're gonna move that up there. Put this here. Okay, we'll just make kind of a, oops, kind of make like a full circle. So edit gradient. Let's see, this one will just be black. Again, we'll do the shoulders. I don't know, let's try 95. I think we'll probably need 90 though. Black, 90. Let's go here, let's do 90. These could probably just be full black. Full black. This is obviously not going to be white. How's that look? It looks kind of messy. 95 down here. The shoulders look a little, oh, well, that's messing us up. Ah, it's better already. Oh, actually, I think these were nice when they were lighter as well. We'll also do the sleeves later. Well, actually, okay, I'm pretty happy with that as the back gradient. Oops, this gradient, do we want to just, I don't know, maybe bring that centered a little bit more? Something like that. I think the bottom, we don't really need to change. The bottom is what it is. I don't think, besides, you know, we reflected it, so I think that's kind of enough. Let's see, this top part. Maybe we can just grab, oops, where's the, oops. this layer. I'm going to just grab this and pull this down a little bit. Just pull, oops, I'm going to grab, yep, pull that down. We'll kind of make that curve down instead of up. Looks more like the back of something. Okay, let's see how that looks. The gradient's hard. I mean, it's hard to get a real sense of what's correct with the gradient. Maybe we'll do like 95 here, and down here we'll do full black. But that maybe makes more sense, kind of. I like that where it's darker on the bottom. So let's make sure this is the back. Everything's grouped. Yeah, we're good. We already have our 2-point on it, right? From the front layer. Right, I think. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, and that's basically it. So I'll just line them up nicely now. Yes. Okay. And that's basically it. There we have our front and we have our back of the Hervé Léger Prefall 2020 fringe dress that I'm kind of obsessed with. I absolutely love it. Again, the black is really difficult. You need that dimension of the gradient and a little bit of like shadowing to give the black dimension. Again, if you were sending this to a factory, you wouldn't fill it in all black. You'd probably just wouldn't fill it in or do like a grayish color so that you can actually see details and stuff like that that you might want to add. This one doesn't have a lot of details like full fashioning or anything like that, so there's not a lot of that to add. Actually, I might come in here and... No, alright, I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna mess with it anymore. You need to just find a point when you're like, okay, I'm done. Obviously, you can kind of keep working on these things over and over, and sometimes I get in the habit of like thinking about it after I've done it, and I'm like, oh, I should have made this lighter or this darker. I should have added this detail or not added this because that wasn't necessary. But I'm gonna say this is basically done, and I'm gonna say it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you'd like to see more just general fashion design videos, I'm trying to do more hand sketching, more different types of videos. Just kind of whatever I'm working on is what I'm trying to do videos about. If I'm working on my portfolio, just stuff like this that I'm going to put in my portfolio. Yeah, if I feel like doing a movie review, a book review, I do kind of just whatever I feel like doing. Leave comments, let me know what you want to see more of. Hand sketching, CAD sketching, book reviews, movie reviews, whatever. Yeah, until next time, thanks for watching, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notifications when new videos come out. Thanks, bye.